hand seamer and the fluting pliers, and they kind of go together. You get them out of this toolbox at the same time, and they go so well together. So what they're for is when you process the flanges on ribs, basically. So the first thing you want to do is you want to see if the rib is flat. And you can see this one rocks on the table. It's not flat. So this is just how they come, and that's part of the process in making them. They just don't end up flat. So that's what we use the fluting pliers for, is to flatten that out. But first we want to make sure that the flange is actually square with the web. And this one actually looks really good. That one has a little bit of a gap on this side, but you want to just take a square or anything that is square, and you want to see where you're at. So this one needs to be bent in a little bit, which is pretty common, and that's where we use the hand seamer. We take and just go over the edge like this, and then push down against the table, and then rotate to bend it, and then come back and recheck to make sure everything's square. If you've gone too far, you can obviously grab it and come back. It's just harder because you don't have anything to press against. So you want to try to sneak up on it and not overdo it the first time. So this one right here needs a little bit more of a bend. So I come back here, tweak it in just a little bit. Yep, that looks pretty good. So now that I've done that, you can see that it still rocks a bit on the table. It's incredibly hard to show this. I'm surprised. Okay, so since it rocks, the piece is almost always stretched in this dimension here. So then you come back in between the holes here with the fluting pliers. There's one side that's longer than the other. That keeps you from getting too close to the web with the flute. So this side that's longer goes on the inside. So I'm going to put that on the inside, and I'm not going to squeeze all the way. I'm just going to barely make a dent. Ever so barely in between the holes. Sometimes you don't have to do all the holes. It just depends on the part, and it's more of an arty thing. You just kind of get the feel for it. So I did one side, now I'll turn the pliers around, go down the other side. So I'm pulling it from shape like this to being flat, and if I go too far, it'll be curved the other direction. So now the part does not rock on the bench, and I'm satisfied. And then the final step is to go at each of the rivet locations, go back with your square and make sure that they're still square to the table. And these are not. These have changed a decent amount, really. So then, without squeezing the flutes back out, so I'm not squeezing the handle of the hand seamer anymore. I'm just keeping it snug and pushing in there because I don't want to squeeze those flutes back out, or my part will go back to the way it started. The less work you can do on any part, the easier it is, first of all, but the better off you are too, because as things bend, they don't tend to fit as well. So now I'm happy with the squareness at each point that the rivet or the skin contacts the substructure. Happy with the squareness of that. And when I go back here, there's still just a little bit of a rock to it, but it's very close to being exactly flat. So I would take that and dimple it and put it on the plane.